Well, back when I played a lot more SoloQ when I was really getting into the game, one of the biggest concerns I had was doing something wrong, making a genuine mistake, and it leading to my teammate getting killed. Mm-hmm. And because of the lack of communication, you can't really tell the person until it's too late that what you did was an accident. Because I'm not here to troll, you know?
Yeah.
And I hate the idea of someone conflating my mistake with me trolling. I think playing with someone else helps me relax a little bit because I can rely on someone and I can, apologize to them if I screw up.
Is winning or escaping, is that the deciding factor between whether or not you enjoy a match as Survivor?
The way I enjoy matches is if I feel like I did my best. And I'm always, you can hear it in my recordings all the time, I'm always pointing out every single little mistake I've made. Mm. And I think I feel satisfied with a match, even if I lose, if it meant helping someone or I felt like I did the best that I could.
I know you stream. Has anyone ever come into your stream and been like, wow, I can't believe you sandbagged me? Or
I've been very fortunate, not often. I do have one incident where I had used up a lot of pallets during a SoloQ game against a Wraith. Now, what I did was I had such a great chase against this Wraith during the end with the last gen about to go off. And I, for once, was a toxic, sweaty Survivor main, and I decided to use a syringe, and it lengthened the chase. It gave me plenty of time for my teammates to finish their gen and to go to a door, and the three of them escaped. And I was like, okay, great. My sacrifice was worth it. I'm fine dying. I'm literally should be called sacrificial lamb because I am so fine with dying because it helped get the team out and win the game. Mm-hmm. The ace, though, because he went down and I guess didn't have a pallet earlier in the game, got mad at me and he's like, thanks for using up all the pallets.
Even though he escaped?
Yes! It was funny because he didn't even name me. And it's so often when a person gets angry, whether it's at a survivor or a killer, they say their shit and then they leave because they're a coward. I see all these people with long screenshots of toxic messages back and forth. And I'm here I'm lucky if someone even says something. Because they're too cowardly. They say, you suck, and they leave. Mm-hmm. And you're like, who are you even talking to? That's how lame it is. But I think because I don't deal with it so often, that's why it sticks out. And I'm reminded of it every time I see other people talk about how unsatisfied other players are.
Yeah, so
and how they can.
It's not like you think about it all the time. It's just something that can be easily brought to the forefront of your mind.
Mm-hmm. What's on my mind is, am I going to do my best and show my team that I'm really here to play? I'm not here to troll. I'm not here to try to lower my MMR. I'm not here to make your life miserable. Even though I bitch about my teammates making mistakes or doing stupid things, I take that as lessons for myself to try and not repeat those things in my future games, but I also don't hold it against them forever. I look at them as their character, whether it's a Meg or a Jonah or Felix, and I'm like, okay, in that moment you did something dumb, and then I move on. But if you're making mistakes and decisions that aren't that good, I'm like, I'm gonna bitch and then I'll move on. I'm afraid people don't do that for me. I'm afraid people just hold on to so much anger and they think I'm terrible and I'm purposely trying to ruin their day. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Just don't play then. If you're afraid of people making mistakes and doing bad in games, then don't play. I get more concerned when I'm playing late at night and I'm playing SoloQ because I don't know if I'm going to be in a trio that's trying to, be a bully squad. I don't know if I'm with other randos. I think when I play with my duo, once in a while we get someone who is playing the game, and then when they see the game's not in our favor, they might start, throwing the game. I actually still have the recording where you and me met.
Yeah.
And I do, yeah. And in that game, the two players we were paired with, they were making decisions that, you could probably hear me in the recording saying that was dumb or blah, blah, blah. But I'm still playing because I'm not going to get, upset by my teammates doing bad and give up. So I was trying to play the game to the fullest And I was willing to sacrifice myself because I saw that you had befriended one of the sables. And I'm like, okay, I'll sacrifice myself because you already made a decision. Like, but then the sable saved me, and I'm like, okay, I guess she's farming me, but whatever. And I remember you chased me, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna meet my death. Let me just try to get some chase points. And the sable was coming in. She's coming hot to the side of me, and I'm like, okay, she's going to take a body hit for me. Nope, she ran right in front of me, threw the pallet down, forced you to hit me, and ran off. You ended up going after her and, you know, taking her out for me. Because you're like, you befriended her, and you're like, I trust you, I'm gonna give you, the hatch. And she betrayed that. And when I see someone intentionally being rude, I don't want them to think that if I made a mistake like that, I'm being intentionally rude.
How do you know if someone's being intentionally rude?
I think, fortunately I haven't dealt with it too much. I think it's when they, I guess that was an example when they body blocked me. And when I see a person trying to point out like where the other teammates are to the killer.
In your examples, those weren't even something you could do on accident, like throwing like you never intentionally sell at your teammate. You never intentionally, cause the death of one of your teammates.
No, I wouldn't. I would never. My goal is to get as many people out and to have any kind of success. Whether that's I did a really good chase to the best of my ability, whether that's we try to plow through as many gens as possible, and sometimes even if it's me and a teammate, if I can distract the killer and my teammate gets out, that still feels like a win because my effort led to their success.
Okay.
That makes me feel good.
Wanting other people's validation, that's a very human thing. I think I don't I think if people are like, oh, I don't want other people's validation, they're kind of like it'd be harsh to say that they're lying, but I don't think they're being completely truthful. We like being noticed and we like being rewarded for our efforts. I noticed earlier you were kind of like talking about like if you made a mistake, a hypothetical survivor thinking that you were intentionally ruining the game or throwing or trying to make their day worse. And from what I can tell, this survivor does not exist, or it's not someone you've actually experienced like playing with. So it sounds more like it's maybe what you think about yourself rather than some hypothetical survivor. I think it's less you worrying about how a survivor responds to your mistakes, but it's more you thinking about how you respond to your mistakes.
Yeah, because this is where it gets real. Like, I've hurt people in my life where I was very close to them and I loved them. And sometimes saying sorry was not enough to undo the damage. And I carry that with me. And sometimes I'm afraid that I'm gonna make one too many mistakes and have people leave me. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I think that's where it comes from. I don't want people to think I'm trying to intentionally hurt them. And sometimes the way I talk, sometimes the way I joke, it can come off very aggressive, it can come off very emotional. I'm someone that's very animated and I like being animated. I like joking around. That's how I like to make it sound like I'm raging or having a problem with something when I'm not. And sometimes, I might joke about something I shouldn't. Again, even when I like hear myself recorded, you can hear me like fake rage. But at the end of the day, I'm still gonna say GG's, and I'm not gonna be, thinking that the people I just played with are the worst people ever that ever existed or something. But
everything you've told me and everything I know about you kind of speaks to you. You don't have malicious intent. Even like you want you play very selflessly, and I think that reflects really positively on your character. Like not Zarina, but like you.
Yeah.
Um
That's the thing. I love Zarina. She was my first DLC. No, listen.
Okay.
She was my first DLC, and she grew up in New York City, and I'm in the East Coast area. I've been to New York City a lot, and I see a lot of myself in her.
Mm-hmm.
Not the struggles that she's had. I've never dealt with that, but her desire to be there for the people. Oh my god, perk reference. Oh my god, Dead by Daylight reference. OMG! But just, that's the kind of person I want to be. I want to be there for the good cause. I want to show that I care. And maybe I might be a little edgy along the way once or twice, but at the end of the day, I genuinely do care about the greater cause, whatever I'm working for. And I want people to see that reflected. I'm like a cactus. I got all the spikes, but, if you cut in, it's that sweet nectar.
What?
I'm like a rose. I don't know. I'm just something thorny, but if you get to the center of it, I'm like sweet. I'm like some sort of what's like a pineapple? Is that a good reference? I don't know.
You're a pineapple.
I'm a pineapple.
I'm someone that has been hurt and has hurt people. And I understand the want to be better and the want to not hurt anyone, but the unfortunate reality of being human is there will be painful times. There are just going to be times where no one did, like, there were no malicious intent. There was no malicious intent on either side. It just wasn't working anymore. And sometimes things end amicably, sometimes things end through a fucking explosion and you get hurt and it sucks. But I think that does not mean it's not worth, like, getting close to people, and that does not mean it's not worth, playing the game. Like,
right.
Like, there are absolutely going to be times where you make mistakes, but I can assure you that you make way less mistakes now because of the mistakes you've made in the past. Like you say, you try to learn from other people. You're trying to be better today than you were yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And that's kind of all you can do. No one has to accept your apology if you do something wrong, but if you know that there was no malicious intent, and you know that it was an honest-to-God mistake, then you did everything you could. And
right.
This is just where you've ended up.
I think I've gotten better at accepting making mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Do you point out, like, when you do, like, good chases, good plays and stuff?
Yeah. And then I'll watch back and be like, you're Delulu. No, sometimes I watch back on my content and I'm like, I could see the patterns where I make the same decisions that put me in trouble. But I think it's easier for me to be critical of myself and be like, I put myself in trouble versus I did something that negatively affected the team. I think it's easier for me to be critical of myself. I have a lot of videos where I kept them because I felt proud of a chase I did, or something funny I did, or just something bizarre happened, a connection, like 2 ships in the night passing. Me and that killer were never meant to be, but that's because I'm a survivor. And he's not ready for all this yet.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I've had killers actually put on Noed for me because of my name. Noed, no head. They will tell me in chat, and it's moments like that where I'm like, you know what? That's fair. That shows that I'm having some impact on someone. Me and my duo, I'm Hexy and I know it. Mm-hmm. With me, Noed, no head.
Mm-hmm.
People, survivors will say they love the names. Killers will say they love the names. That's like that olive branch you talked about when we were chatting before recording. Just like something silly in a game full of death and chase and violence, it's just like something silly. And I appreciate when someone sees beyond just the character and compliments me. appreciates my effort or appreciates some part of what I've done in their day versus just focusing on like, how dare you screw me up and make me lose a game.
I feel like there's this kind of it's a bit of an unspoken agreement in SoloQ. It's how everyone talks about, average SoloQ teammate and like SoloQ teammates are the worst. Like, you don't know what you're going to expect.
Exactly.
There's just utter and complete chaos. And
then you start playing for yourself. You have to, because you're trying to protect yourself, because you don't know if you can rely on the 3 other people in your lobby.
But I think the beauty of that randomness is the fact that there are bad moments and then there are good moments, like what we just had, where like me and you and that Nias and the Trapper were all, acknowledging that a 5th player was ruining the game. Like,
just that to me is throw it. Like, get mad at that person. Like, don't queue up if you have to go take a shit or your mom's calling for you to finish your laundry. But also, do your homework.
But also,
like, whatever it is.
I highly doubt that LED, like, literally anything could have happened that caused them to be AFK. And that's also not malicious intent. Exactly. But it still ruined the game. Like, there's so much that could go wrong. And that's something that could either stress you out, or it can be like, well, I'm gonna do my best and hope that it works out.
To me, it's like, technically, that person's actions made a beautiful memory for the rest of us. Yeah. And sometimes that's what happens. Sometimes you're the reason why people, have a good laugh that day. But I do hate that even if you gave an explanation for your actions, like, I'm so sorry I body blocked you. I was really trying to help you out and I accidentally got in front of you. Or, I'm sorry I sandbagged you. I didn't have aura reading. I didn't realize you were working on that generator until it was too late. It sucks that you can explain yourself, and instead of that person pausing and going, okay, I'm angry, but I understand. Thank you for talking that out with me. They just double down, or they don't feel like they can back down from that anger.
I think it's kind of beautiful that you could acknowledge that, like, if the roles were reversed, or like you do have the capacity to be reasonable and to forgive, and other people just like might not. And it's kind of going back to that thing of like, you made a mistake, you acknowledged that it was a mistake, you gave an explanation, you have done everything that you can possibly do. And it not being enough is not a reflection of you not being enough. It is really just a reflection of their capacity to forgive. Not everyone has that.
It's about having maturity to, accept that things will go awry, and, learning to pick your battles. I feel like I talked about like 20 topics.
How are you feeling?
But you'll find it. You'll edit it. I have faith.
Yes, no, I can edit this. How are you?
You're like sweating, like, oh god, what the fuck? She started crying.
I think, I really appreciate you being vulnerable with me. I think it would be a really compelling part of the video if you would like me to edit that out.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I totally could.
I was ready. Yeah, you can. Go ahead. Yeah.
But I really appreciate you talking to me. I hope it's been helpful.
But nice. I enjoyed it.
And I really appreciate your time. I hope your time. I hope you have a great